You guys are excited for that.
I'm excited for the live demo
Ah.
and the learning. I love to learn, so.
And Tamara, I'm curious what you were like. Ah.
Well, I've been a singer for 35 years, and I've seen the power of music in action. I'm just really interested in your perspective on what on the specifics of that scientifically. I mean, I know it in my spirit. I see it. I'm just I'm excited.
Cool.
I can attest to that. I have a zebra finch bird, and his name's Chuck. Anyway, he loves to hear my voice every morning singing to him. It's like he just, that makes his day. So I know it works, even on a bird. I mean, although he is a songbird, so he's into that sort of thing, but that's one of his good times during the day, and mine too, because it's kind of thrilling, to be such a blessing to a bird.
I
Oh,
love
and guess
that.
what I have on my desk?
I love that. Oh, cool. So great. How about striking it for us, Joe, as we get started?
I would be happy to. Okay, you didn't ask for that part, but
I don't know if anybody else heard it, but I didn't. This is the limitation of Zoom.
I didn't
oh,
hear
you didn't hear it?
Zoom
Oh.
Zoom is really challenging for these things. It's so interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
It's okay. No worries. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's been challenging for sure for me ever since the lockdowns. Anyway. All right.
I'm going to go
Well,
ahead and mute Andrea, so do what you need to do.
yeah, I guess everybody commute. That might be helpful. And then we'll definitely have time for questions at the end. But I'm condensing down my usual talk. I'm going to try to get this in about 30 minutes. Before we'll do a little bit of experiential as well. So, all right, let me share my screen here and get this up. All right, so this is a brief introduction to the healing power of sound and song. And, for me, what several of you have just spoken to, I just kind of took it for granted because I had so much music in my life, growing up, church and school, and we didn't really talk about it in terms of its healing power. Um, and it wasn't until my early 30s when my involvement with, directly in groups or even, duets or even just myself, music was kind of falling into the background and not happening much in my life. But within 5 to 10 years, it came knocking, and and it was really through this whole lens of it being healing that I brought it back into my work. So I'm really excited to share a bit of what I know with you today. So I'm going to start with a quote from Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So what is that all about? Well, first of all, we know from physics that everything is energy. And where there is energy, there is vibration at that really minuscule level. And where there's vibration, there is, of course, sound, whether it's within the range of our ears or not. So therefore, everything is sound. So you can think of it in that way, and that the whole universe is really an incredible symphony or orchestra of sound. So when we're talking about healing, and I'm using the terms health and harmony here, and you'll probably see why, everything in its natural state functions in harmony and balance. So we even talk about being of sound, mind, and body. And it's amazing how many sound related words are in our language and we don't even think about it. Um, but, being of sound, mind, and body, what does that mean? Well, it's like the energies flowing freely, through our whole system. And we experience that health and vitality and balance and harmony and happiness and so on. On the other hand, disease or dis-ease in the body is disharmony, and that's resulting from blocks in energy flow. And that can be from stress, from our negative thought patterns, trauma, which often is stuck or out of balance emotions, pollution, environmental toxins, poor quality food, lack of physical activity. I mean, the list is pretty long, and I think we're all pretty familiar with all of these different things that can affect our system in one way or another and throw things out of whack or throw us out of tune, would be another way to put it. In terms of, emotions being out of balance, or out of balance is the term I used there. We're just talking about, all emotions, whether they're, what we think of as being negative, fear, sadness, guilt, etc., anger. They are actually very healthy, but they can get out of balance when anger becomes rage, when sadness becomes depression, when fear becomes terror and panic attacks, and so on. And some of these lower, what you think of as lower frequency um, emotions, you can just see on this scale of David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. And that it's a more contracted state, and that is reflected in the body and in the health. Whereas, the love, the joy, acceptance, willingness, peace, all of that is a more expanded state. So I just wanted to throw that visual in there. A little bit about the historical context of, creation happening through sound. So in the Judeo-Christian tradition, we have, in the beginning, let there be light, the speaking of the words. And in the New Testament is, in the beginning was the Word. The Mayans believed that the first humans were given life solely through the power of the Word. And in the Hindu tradition, Prajapati depicted in the Vedic texts as creating the heavens and the earth by uttering this phrase, Bhu Bhuvasva. So, this is very common in all the traditions around the globe, that sound was part of creation. In the Polynesian and Far East, they believe that the gods and goddesses struck gongs or blew conch shells to create the world. And the Aborigines in Australia is really interesting, how they have the stories of the mythical ancestors that rose out of the earth and created the mountains and the valleys and so on through song lines. And they believe that their singing created life, and these songs must be sung even now to keep the land and the oneness of the past, present, and future alive. So that's a fascinating piece there. In Egypt, the vowel sounds were chanted to really clear it and restore balance to the energy centers, the chakra system. And there's legends that many now do believe is true about the use of sound to build the pyramids. We wonder how in the world that happened, and likely sound was an instrumental piece of that. Pythagoras is credited with the first organized approach of using music for healing, and he's really considered the spiritual grandfather of sound medicine. And then Edgar Cayce, Rudolf Steiner, and Nostradamus all predicted the use of sound for healing by the end of the 20th century, which is very true. It's happening in ever expanding ways. So what exactly is sound healing? I don't know if it would have been my first training, but one of my early trainings, we were encouraged to write our own definition. So this is how it came out for me. It's the intentional use of the voice or instruments to promote healing by restoring harmony to one's whole being. And then a few pieces from some of the sound pioneers in the field over the past 20, 30, even 40 years. Jonathan Goldman is one of them, and he has these wonderful little equations. So first one being frequency plus intention equals healing. So our intention rides on the frequency of the sound waves and takes that deep into our being and helps to restore that wholeness and harmony. And another one, it's similar, as sound or frequency plus belief equals outcome. It's another way you could see it. So again, the consciousness is being encoded on the sound. And then Fabien Maman is a French composer, acupuncturist, and bioenergetic pioneer. And he says it this way. This isn't necessarily his definition, but he says, this to me is the essence of sound healing. When through a specific acoustic sound structure, we bring human beings, nature, and the cosmos into healing harmony. The universal energy field becomes one. So through all of those things I mentioned, you know, the things that pull us out of that, that oneness and kind of fragment our field, so to speak. And through sound, we can bring it all back together. And I just talk about it as being a great tune-up, giving our whole system a tune-up. So just a few of the basic principles. We have resonance, first of all, and this is the intensification and enriching of a frequency by supplementary vibration. Kind of big words to explain what you probably all experienced at some point or know about. If you have a guitar and a piano close together, and let's say you play the D on the piano, if they are in tune with each other, the D string on the guitar will start to vibrate, and you can hear it if you're close to it. Has anybody ever had that kind of experience? Try it sometime. Actually, I had a similar experience today, and this happens now and then, where I'm sitting with a client and I have some crystal singing bowls that I work with, and there is just like this frequency in some people's voices that gets my bowls to start to hum a little bit. I hear them kind of ring. I mean, they probably didn't even think about it, but I could hear my bowls ringing, and there's just this resonance with some pitch in their voice that gets the bowl to kind of light up and vibrate a little bit. Kidney stone treatments are based on this, using sound to break up the kidney stones, and an opera singer shattering a glass would be a similar thing, where the resonance frequency together actually brings that about. And then based on building on resonance, we have entrainment, and this is the tendency toward harmony in nature. So the vibrations of one object affect the vibrations of another object to bring them into harmony. And, you know, it's a synchronization of rhythms. We have lots of experiences of this in our own lives. So our circadian rhythms, you know, with the light and the dark cycles of day and night, you fly to the other side of the planet where it's an opposite cycle, right? And your body comes back into synchrony with that. It takes a few days. It can be grueling jet lag, but our bodies will entrain to the new light dark cycle that we're exposed to. Same thing with women's menstrual cycles that are on, you know, sports teams or living in close proximity. They often come into sync. And if you put two metronomes in the same room, you know, with slightly different you know, that aren't, and you start them and they're not exactly together, they will actually come into harmony. But this is an example of how it can happen in a more amazingly huge way. So I'm going to skip through some of this just because it's a little repetitive, but this is a whole bunch of metronomes. It does need to be on a surface where the vibration can be passing through. So just watch. And move the pictures of people, Zoom, so that you can see all of them if you need to. So they were all started at different times. So notice they're all pretty much in sync, but look at this second one over here on the right. Keep an eye on that one. Came into sync within less than 3 minutes. So that's that principle in action of entrainment, even with things that you would think would be a little bit more consistent. Okay. So a little bit about the effects of sound through this sympathetic resonance. It helps to restore the natural frequencies of the cells and the tissues and the organs. You know, it's kind of like a massage at the deep level of the cell and the atom and the molecule. Sound also focuses the mind in the present moment. It restores that harmony on physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. So it's encompassing all aspects of our being and really enhances connection with our most essential self. And just quickly on, some of the different, all those different areas of who we are. Physical benefits, this is really a short list, but these are some things that have definitely been well researched. It can reduce pain and inflammation, excuse me, lowers heart rate and blood pressure, balances hormones. It speeds healing by increasing nitric oxide, enhances fetal development, releases endorphins and oxytocin, increases energy, improves sleep, boosts immunity. And again, the list could keep going, but these are some well-researched physical effects. On the mental emotional level, it reduces anxiety, lowers stress levels, and helps with depression and PTSD. It improves the symptoms of autism and also helps with recovery from brain injuries. Increases our ability to focus, boosts motivation and confidence, and enhances social connection as well. And then on the energetic and spiritual level, it clears and balances, the energy centers, enhances intuition and insight, increases creativity, and expands our consciousness. These kinds of things a little harder to study scientifically, but these are all benefits of it. So a little bit on some of the research that's been done and some of the main early pioneers in particular. Dr. Hans Jenny was a Swiss engineer and medical doctor, and he really looked at the effects of sound frequencies on water and sand and other materials. And of course, we know that our bodies are predominantly water. So there's kind of that correlation. So he coined the term cymatics. I don't know, some of you might be familiar with this already. This is the science of wave phenomena. And it's a study of the visible effects of sound and vibration. So I have another video for you on this, where basically they take a metal plate and hook it up to I forget what it's called, but something that is sending a frequency, sound frequency to that metal plate. And you're going to hear the pitch start low and then go up. So just watch what happens to what's on the plate. So this is, again, the study of the visual phenomena of sound waves. adding more sand. This is sand on the plate, or salt, I'm not sure which. All right. So, pretty wild, huh? The incredible designs as the frequency gets higher, it gets more and more complex. And did you notice how, um, it would form a shape, and then before the next shape, there would be this period of chaos, right? It would just kind of get all, messed up, and then all of a sudden the new shape shows up. Yeah, or the new design, I guess I should say. So that's an example of cymatics, and you can find lots of YouTube videos if you want to look at that kind of thing more. They're quite fascinating with different types of materials. What also came to mind is the relationship with, or the kind of the um, resonance, shall I say, with Dr. Emoto's work that I'm guessing many of you might be familiar with. The now I can't remember. Joe, you probably remember the name of his main book. Anyway, his studies on water and, just the frequencies of our thoughts and the effect that that has on the crystalline structures in water. So this is the same kind of idea here. It's resonant with that. Let's see. All right, so I quoted Fabien Mama earlier, and he did a lot of research documenting the influence of sound waves on cells of the body and their energy fields. And he discovered the ability to actually explode cancer cells. And one of the most fascinating pieces there, I think, is that he concluded that the human voice is more powerful than instruments due to consciousness. So that's his website. And I can send copies of these slides out to you all if you want to follow any of the links to look at more detail. And then there's also Tom Kenyon, who has kind of, I guess, created this new field called psychoacoustics, where, looking at human potential and how human behavior can be affected through sound and language and music and their effects on the brain and the mind. So there's some fascinating work that he's up to as well. And he has quite a few recordings as well. And a few different articles, again, if you want to look into and read. These are just some that I felt were written, reader, beginner friendly, so to speak. Some links to different articles if you want to read a little bit more. All right, so that's a brief overview that I actually was able to move through a little faster than I thought maybe I would. But what is the most powerful instrument available for healing? Oh no, I messed it up. I'm trying to, I opened the chat for some reason. I saw there was a chat and I can't seem to get my cursor to move it out of the way. But anyway, I skipped past that. So if you didn't see what popped up there on the screen, does anybody have a guess? Maybe everybody saw it. I'm just going to go back. Here we go. What's the most powerful instrument available? There's my cursor. I don't know why it had disappeared. What is the most powerful instrument available for healing? Anybody have a guess? Even if you saw it.
Well, I know what it is, but if someone wants to guess, they go for it.
I'm guessing our voice, our own voice.
You got it. Yep. It's your own voice. Yeah. And that's perhaps based on Fabienne Mama's work with the exploding cancer cells, you know, and finding that the voice was more powerful than instruments. I had heard it from other people or in other ways, you know, just that the voice is our own most, for our own bodies, our own voice is the most powerful. But it can also be someone else's voice as well. Yeah. So in terms of a little experiential, because Zoom is limiting about, you know, singing bowls, etc. Anyway, although I do work with singing bowls, I work with a lot of things, but my voice is really is a central instrument that I work with in my work. So we are going to work a little bit and just experimenting and practicing with some vocal, real basic humming and or toning. And what this does is it expands the body's ability to breathe more deeply, which we know the benefits of that. It releases emotions stored in tissues, organs, and energy fields. It releases endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin, those feel-good neurotransmitters. It can be used for self-healing, pain relief, relaxation, balance. I mean, really, the sky's the limit. You know, if you want to set an intention, the sound carries that intention. You know, again, that sound plus or frequency plus intention equals healing, kind of carries that deeply into our body. And the focus here is on the feeling of the vibration and perhaps your intention if you want to have one, rather than how it sounds. This is not about singing or performing or sounding good or anything like that. It's more just about the vibration going on in the body. Okay. So let's see. Okay, we'll come back here. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of do this with you. I'll demonstrate and you are on mute, so nobody's gonna hear you. That's the other benefit here. And you can just, actually, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a little bit, just so, if that's helpful. Okay. So just get comfortable in a seated position or standing if you want, or even lying down, but ideally sitting in a way where your spine is supported so that you are relaxed, but not slouching or, you know, reclining too much, so that you can be comfortable with spine erect, and that just allows the breath to happen more easily and deeply. Don't turn any of this into work. I'm just going to guide you, and it's very, very simple, and we're just going to notice what we notice, okay? So notice, first of all, your breath, just moving in and out of your body. And take a moment to just kind of check in with your body. How's your body doing in this moment? You know, what do you notice? Maybe just with your eyes closed, tuning in. There might be a spot here or there that grabs your attention quickly in one way or another, or just kind of your overall feeling in your body. It's easy to just kind of plow through life and be engaged at the mental level mostly, and we don't always tune in to the rest of the body. And then also just notice the quality of your mind in this moment. And the quality of your heart. What's happening there on the emotional scene for you in this moment. You may notice a lot, you might not notice much. That's totally fine. No right or wrong answers, just what is. And so now coming back to the breath, I'm just going to demonstrate real quickly. This is just a basic hum sound, a single note. You don't have to match my pitch necessarily, just whatever sound or note wants to come out. When you run out of air, just take another breath. So when you're ready, just allow a sound to emerge on the exhale. You're not trying to let it, hold it out for any length of time. Just be gentle. And as soon as you run out of air, just take another nice, gentle, deep breath. Allow your lungs to fill up and let that sound out again. Focusing on that sensation of the vibration in your body. And I'm going to go on mute so you can just be in your own sound and vibration for a little bit. I'll bring you back. So one more breath, and then we'll just pause for a moment. I'll invite you to another level. Just continuing to keep your awareness inside. And if you didn't, or I forgot to kind of prompt you or give you some space, if there is an intention that you want to bring to this right now, just bring that to mind. It might be to release something, for just healing for something in particular, or to receive, have more of something. And now I just invite you to move from the hum to what we call toning, which is simply vowel sounds. So you're just going to open the lips now. So it might just be a simple ah, or ooh, or e. You can pick one vowel sound and just stick with that. Or you could play around with different ones and see which one feels best. So we'll just take another minute or two to allow the lips to open and allow a vowel sound to come out. Again, just focusing on the feeling, the vibration in your body. Again, just taking another breath or two and then finding your way back to silence. And checking in again with your body. What's going on in your body in this moment? What do you notice? And what's the quality of your mind? And the quality of your heart. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back to our little virtual circle here. And I welcome anyone to unmute yourself and share any noticings, anything you want to say about your experience or questions.
So I felt like when you said that about the intention, well, before that, I noticed that I had tension in my face, especially my jaw area. So then after you said that about setting the intention and doing it, it's completely gone right now.
Cool.
That was a super cool experience. Thank you.
You did it.
Thank you for guiding us.
Yes. Yeah, go for it, Tim.
I've had a lot of my head's been sort of clogged up, my ears and everything. And I noticed that maybe a little bit was coming down out of my throat. And so maybe these will really help me get my head cleared out because I've been having this for several months now.
Okay. Yeah, that could very well be true. So, and I'll say a little bit more, but anybody else want to share anything before I move on?
I was just gonna say, I do feel some relaxation,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
made a difference.
yeah. It stimulates the vagus nerve, which just affects so much, and relaxation and just kind of centering is really powerful. Yeah, Tamara.
I just want to say I miss singing.
Yeah. Well, maybe
You
we'll
know,
close with some singing today.
COVID just shut it all down out on the outside, and I'm realizing now that I shut it all down on the inside too.
Oh, wow, that's an important realization. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Singing, we can do, if you don't consider yourself a singer, you still can sing, and you certainly can hum and get those benefits that you're all talking about that you felt. And singing in whatever way, it doesn't even have to be on tune, just does wonders for our overall, morale. The fact that it was shut down on the outside over the last 2 years is, I think, one of the biggest tragedies. Well, there's been so many of them, but yeah, that's a big, huge piece that I know has affected, mental, emotional wellness for many, many people. So thank you all for your shares and for participating. I'm going to jump back to my slides here real quick. Oops. Okay, so I already kind of went through some of these. Oh yeah, here's another thing you could just check in with. What's one word that captures the essence of how you feel right now? Sometimes it's hard to put words to it, with sound experiences, especially when I do sound immersions where where people are just lying down and completely, receiving all kinds of different sounds. It can really, well, it really affects the brain waves and takes us to this deep, deep, on the way to deep sleep, but more of a light sleep, deep meditative state. And it can kind of feels like it takes the left brain offline. So sometimes I help bring people back by what's a word that points to your experience. So, but I won't take much time there. If you want to put a word in the chat, you may. Humming or toning for just 5 minutes daily can be absolutely transformative. I mentioned Jonathan Goldman, the one with those equations of sound and belief and outcome and frequency, intention, and healing. He and his wife wrote a book called The Humming Effect, and they just recommend 5 minutes. You don't need to do more than that. In fact, not much more than that if you're a beginner with it. So just notice how putting that simple practice into your daily life makes a difference for you. So one final quote I'll leave you with. This is from Hazrat Inayat Khan, who is an incredibly brilliant musician and poet from India. He came to the West, and he's considered one of the gurus, so to speak, in the world of sound and music and so on. And he says that the divine sound is the cause of all manifestation. The knower of the mystery of sound knows the mystery of the whole universe. And everything is sound, so we're all we're all knowers of it, and we can just keep learning and practicing and benefiting even more. So just a little bit about kind of what I do and what I offer. I do private sessions with individuals or couples, and I usually combine it with energy healing as well. And I can do that in person or virtually. And like I was describing, I do group sound healing immersions using a variety of different instruments as well as my voice. I also lead community song circles. That's been something newer that I really got into as a result of the lockdowns and all of the community circles. There's a very vibrant community on the West Coast in particular, but also in the Asheville area. I think there's some, and a lot of them went virtual. And so I ended up getting on these song circles and learning all these amazing songs, and got really inspired to be trained and do that. And then workshops and retreats, custom events, and so on. I also do have a CD that's called Beginnings, Songs and Meditations for Deep Relaxation. And it's a mix of crystal singing bowls with toning, and then some a cappella songs. It's all just very deeply relaxing, healing type things. And you can find that on my website, a link to be able to listen to it on Bandcamp. And here's my contact info. So if anybody has any questions, I'll leave that there for a moment. And again, I can send these slides out, and I could send them to you, Joe, and you could share them with people, correct? Yeah.
You read my thoughts exactly.
Yeah. And I'd be happy to lead us in a song if people want to stick around and do that. I don't have to. I know it's already getting close to 8:15. So.
Can I make one comment?
Yeah, please do.
It was about within a year ago, there was two, a father and a son that played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about sound and how everything works on sound.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also mathematicians. And they actually figured out, if you've noticed in the last few weeks, there's a camera that came out that can take pictures in the dark. And what they did mathematically and using their sound of their guitars, they figured out the formula to pick out the picture without the darkness. So it's all a mathematical, really. I saw the whole program on TV about, a while back, but it's really amazing how they could do that.
Wow.
I yield.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing. This whole, science and spirituality and math being part of science and sound. I mean, it's all so intricately interconnected. That's really fascinating. And so much is being discovered, yeah, as we speak. It's a vast, vast field that is growing quickly. It's coming back to life. As I started out with, all, the ancients all, knew the power of these things, and it's all gotten suppressed. And now it's coming back. So it's very exciting. Any other questions, comments?
I have one on the you're talking about our circadian rhythms and how they get kind of thrown off when we travel, right? Well, I heard that when you get to where you're going, if you ground yourself, walk barefoot, stand barefoot on the earth, doesn't have to be a super long time, that will help you orient to that time zone. So I
Yeah.
tried it when I flew to Hawaii, which has a 5-hour time difference. And it worked. It was like I didn't feel any, it was just like I went from here to there, right? Like I didn't have any of that jet lag stuff. So
Cool. And on the way back, same thing?
I don't remember if I did it on the way back.
Okay.
I may have forgotten.
All right. Good. Clearly. I think of flying east as being harder for some reason, I think, in terms of jet lag and stuff. But yeah, getting yourself in connection with the earth and those, and yeah, it's all interconnected. Makes total sense. And also just, even if you aren't tired, going to bed when it gets dark, or if you get there and you're really tired, trying to stay awake if it's still light out. Just kind of getting yourself in sync with the new light and dark cycles. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And then on the Dr. Emoto thing with the water experiments that he did, my team actually did an experiment with rice. They just put rice in a jar,
Mhm.
and some of them spoke to it every day, but some of them only wrote like the word love on one jar and hate on another one. They didn't speak to it. They just wrote those words, and that rice with the hate like started turning moldy and black.
Wow. How fast?
Right? Within a week.
Within a week. Wow. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The power of our words. I mean, this brings up a lot of things to think about, the power of our words, the power of our thoughts alone. Um, and how it's affecting our own body, much less anyone else that's hearing or in our vicinity. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
kind
and
of
then
humbling.
someone shared with me this the other day that speaking something brings it from it kind of like brings it into existence, right? Like you can think things, but when you actually speak it out, whether it's your intentions or affirmations or whatever, is it actually gives it more power. You're bringing it from the spiritual into the physical, so to speak.
Correct. Yes, exactly. Yep. Tim.
One thing that I love to do is talk to birds and praying mantises and all this kind of stuff. And it's been probably 20 years ago. We had some little birds in a bird cage. They're the little ones. I can't remember what the name is right now, but I let them go. And just the other day, one came back to see me, and he came right over and sat by me and chirped at me. And almost every year, a praying mantis will come back to see me. One year, I walked out the front door, and there's a great big, huge praying mantis there, and it took off and went all the way out of my sight. But just recently, another one came back to say hi. But and bumblebees love to talk to you and stuff like that too. And I love spiders too. Spiders will actually react to you, and I'll say, I had some spiders on the side of my house. I say, well, come out and see me. And they would come out and we chat. So animals really, really
Mhm.
enjoy. I don't know how this happened, but in my bathroom, I noticed a little thing down on the floor. It turned out to be one of those little, I can't remember what it is. Most of the time they're blue or something like that, but they change color. And so I reached down to get it. I thought it was a piece of dirt. And it turned out, I took it outside, put it outside. And the other day, I was outside and it came out to say hi and it left. So animals really, really, I love animals.
Mhm. Yeah.
I yield.
Yeah, and a lot of it is our frequency, everybody's got their different gifts and things they resonate with, and some people, horse whisperers or spider whisperers or whatever, it's all frequency is the basis of it. So yeah, I love that you shared that. And you missed Michelle saying at the beginning about singing to her bird and every morning. That was also beautiful.
Um,
Yeah.
I was going to say, speaking of animals and my bird in particular, Chuck, he does respond differently to my voice than Jeff's voice. You know, we have different relationships. It's kind of interesting
Yeah.
what he likes about my husband, what he likes about me, you know. So yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I spend more time with them. We actually have a morning ritual. There was a song from that movie. I imagine it was a play before a movie, but Oklahoma, and it's a cowboy that's riding his horse through wheat fields and everything, and he sings a little song. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. Oh, what a beautiful feeling. Good things are coming my way. So that's mine and Chuck's little affirmation every morning. And
That's awesome.
we both get a kick out of it, you know.
That's so great. I love it. I love it. I love it. Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Um, and raise your hand if you wanna do a song to end. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, cool. I'm guessing Tamara's in too. All right. I'm just gonna stand up because I can sing better that way. Um, I think what I will teach you, and my singing stuff is community song circle stuff is done in the um, oral tradition, so it's call and response. Um, this is a song by Sophia Ethmio. She's in the UK, and she wrote the words just as a personal mantra for herself, and then she put it to music for a TED talk that she gave, and she teaches the whole audience. It's a really powerful presentation. And again, I could maybe provide that link when I send the the slides. But it goes like this, and you can actually just echo. It's easy to learn in an echo. So I'll just use hand signals. So listen and then sing. Okay. This is home. This is home, where I belong, where I belong. In this breath, in this breath, in this heart,
In
in this
this heart.
heart. And actually, it'll probably be a little easier if you mute yourself, just so that everybody can
Oh,
definitely hear
oh,
me.
sorry.
That's okay. I just realized, I didn't
Oh,
realize it.
well, are you
It's great.
enjoying it?
Oh, great. It just might make it a little harder for everybody. Okay. So let's do that part again. The second part is it sounds just identical. This is home. This is home, where I belong, where I belong. In this breath, in this breath, in this heart, in this heart. And then the second part, this is home, this is home, where I belong, where I belong. In this voice, in this voice, in this song, in this song. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Now you can continue to echo me if that's easiest, or you can join with me and I'll try to prompt you on those words because they're just a little different as we move through it. Because the way it really sounds is, this is home, where I belong. So you can sing with me and just hold it out, or if you want to keep listening and just echoing it back, whatever feels best to you. Okay? So here we go. This is home, where I belong. In this breath, in this heart, in this heart. This is home. this voice, in this voice, in this song. This is home where I belong. In this heart, I'm sorry, breath. In this breath, and now heart. In this heart, this is home where I belong. Voice. In this voice and song. In this song. Now you're getting it one more time. This is home where I belong. In this breath, in this heart, this is home where I belong. Now it's voice. In this voice, in this song. All right, let's take a moment and breathe that in. Your body really is your home, and your voice as well. It's the most powerful instrument for you on the planet, and I hope you enjoy working with that and getting some more benefit from it.
That was fabulous. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yay. Wonderful to be here with you all.